So Jamal Adams has been traded to the Seattle Seahawks. It is official. First things first, I got to give credit to my podcast co-host Kyle. He nailed this one. He said Adams was going to Seattle, so give him some credit there. Also, I haven't actually seen what they got yet. I had an idea. I saw that Jamal Adams got traded, and I saw that McDougal was part of the trade, but that's all I've seen. I haven't seen like the draft picks yet, so I'm going to look it up as I'm recording this video. I figured that could be a fun way to do this. So I'm reading it right now. Jets deal Jamal Adams and 4th round pick in 2022 to Seattle in exchange for Bradley McDougal, and also a 1st round pick in 2021, a 3rd round pick in 2021, and a 1st round pick in 2022. Okay, so 2 1st round picks and a 3rd round pick, which is pretty significant. Now, they're also getting a 4th round pick back, but they're also losing McDougal. So this is a lot. Seattle is giving up a lot for Adams, and it's interesting because I think that this is going to be a huge benefit to them now. Now I'm just going through this, but it's also just a ton of draft capital. I think this is a great trade for the Jets right off the bat. I think this is great value for the Jets. Even though, yes, Adams is tremendous, I think they're getting good value back. And if Adams wasn't going to play, getting 2 1st round picks and a 3rd, basically, the 3rd and 4th is kind of a wash, but 2 1st round picks and a decent safety back, that's pretty good value for New York, I think. It reminds me a little bit about the Jalen Ramsey trade, and because he was already going to leave, but they were able to get a big haul back. Well, this is kind of the same thing. But let's shift gears a little bit, because I actually do think that there is some real value in getting Jamal Adams, and I think that this could make, honestly, I think this makes Seattle probably the 2nd best safety secondary in the league. I still think Baltimore is better, but theirs is probably number 2 now, I would think. Again, I haven't had time to really think about it too much, but it's certainly a top-tier top-tier secondary now. And so what I want to do is, I've already made a video talking about what Adams does so well, so I'm not going to talk about Adams too much in this video. You can check out that video. Just search Jamal Adams, JKS, it'll come up, I'm sure, or film study Jamal Adams, if you want to check that one out. Well, instead of what I'm going to do is I'm going to just show the Seahawks defense and where he would play and how he can be a big upgrade from McDougal and how his play style could be a big advantage. Like, one thing about McDougal is that he plays very conservative. He plays very cautious. And when you compare that to Adams, who is definitely anything but, he is very aggressive, and for good reason. He very rarely makes mistakes, so he can make those quick decisions because he's right. This is an example of McDougal being cautious, and where Adams would be a significantly better player on the field in this moment, where it's going to be a cover 3 zone, and that's a lot of what Seattle runs, which is cover 3, and that's another thing I want to talk about, is that, the white circle, that's where McDougal is, and that's where he's in charge of covering. So you could argue that, you're kind of just going to push Adams off to the side like that, but for one thing, I highly doubt Adams is just going to be someone in charge of covering the flat every play. But another thing is that this is still an important role, and especially with, Bobby Wagner on one side, it's hard to play on that side of the field. But now if Adams on the other, it can be really hard to work that middle of the field. But what San Francisco is going to do here is they are going to, go to the, as in middle of the field deep, not necessarily middle of the field in terms of inside the numbers. They're going to go outside the numbers with a receiver going towards the sideline. That's what they're trying to do on this play. And because of how far off McDougal plays, watch how when he cuts, he's easily able to get open, and there's just a ton of separation, and they're able to get a solid gain, get close to the 1st down on that one. Whereas if that was Adams, no chance they're getting that many yards. At least no chance there's that much separation. He would have read it a lot quicker, and he doesn't play as far off, so he probably would have had less separation to begin with. And that's just one of the many things that Adams does well. He's a better coverage corner than McDougal, and as we all know, he's going to be a much better strong safety. In terms of strong safeties, I don't think there's any question he's the best in the league, and I think he's the best in the league, period. But like a play like this is another good example. It's going to be a run to the top of the screen, and Kyle Juszczyk is going to be blocking Bradley McDougal here. So that's the way this play is designed to work. That's who's designed to block him. And a fullback, blocking a safety, this is usually good for the offense, but there's no way even Juszczyk, who's one of the best fullbacks in the league, would be blocking Jamal Adams, there would be somebody, probably an offensive lineman designed to do it or something, because you have to pay him extra attention. But like on this play, you watch how very easily Juszczyk is able to get in great position. And at this point, McDougal, he's not going to be able to make a play on this one. It's able to be a solid run, and you have to think that those plays will be much more difficult to come by when you have Bobby Wagner and Jamal Adams to worry about. That's just two potential Hall of Famers, I think. I think Wagner's a Hall of Famer, and Adams, you have to figure he'll be a Hall of Famer if he continues to play at the level he has been playing at. When they're not playing nickel, you have Bobby Wagner, you have KJ Wright, you'll have Jordan Brooks, who was the rookie they just drafted this past draft in the first round, and then you have Jamal Adams. Good luck working anywhere, from the 5 to 15-yard down the field area. You're going to have to, I don't think you can run the ball too much. I don't think that you're going to be able to run the ball too much. And you can't really pass the ball deep because they still do have good corners and Quandre Diggs, who's a very good free safety. So this is, again, it's a lot. They give up a lot for sure, but this kind of is going to make this whole defense work. There's some mistakes that McDougal would make that Adams just won't make. Like a play like this, it's a cover 2 man, and what's going to happen is that there's 2 Green Bay players who will be basically just running a pick play. The reason why this is so significant and why I'm bringing it up is, again, look at how far off McDougal is compared to everybody else. Adams would probably be playing on the line. He probably would be playing press. And the reality is there's no way Adams is going to lose in coverage to Jimmy Graham. But here, because of this pick play, McDougal is going to get beat pretty badly. And, there's plenty of separation right there. And that's just something that won't happen with Adams. And, there's these plays that develop with McDougal. And, again, I don't want to pick on McDougal too much. He's a fine safety. I kind of feel like the way I would describe him is that he is the worst safety possible without being considered a bad safety, and the fans still won't hate you. You're not mad at McDougal, but you're not, very rarely impressed with McDougal. I think that's kind of how I would describe him. Maybe if 5 out of 10 is serviceable, he's maybe a 4.5. He's slightly below that, but still fine. However, going from that to elite is definitely worth a lot of capital, and it's putting the Seattle Seahawks right, at the top and potentially a championship contender right here. One more thing I want to bring up is that we all know Adams has one of the best football minds in the game in terms of players. He has just tremendous football IQ. He's always figuring stuff out pre-snap. McDougal didn't, a play like this. It's going to be a play action to the top of the screen. Adams runs down to the bottom of the screen. Rodgers rolls out in that direction. He hits Adams. The goal is to get everyone, to be fooled and run up to the top of the screen, specifically Bradley McDougal, who is the one in the white circle, of course, because, he's going to basically think that it's going to be a running play. He may move up and they can sort of pick on him and, throw it to the bottom of the screen. His job on this play is to make sure nobody gets by him in that direction. This is still your typical cover 3 zone. So he's still in charge of, covering the bottom portion of the field. So he still has to make sure he's there. But after the ball is snapped, he gets fooled on this fake pretty hard. It's hard to totally blame him too much. Getting fooled on fakes, it happens. I'm not going to get on him too much for that. But at the same time, it's just something that Jamal Adams wouldn't do. And as you see, Rodgers is able to hit Davante Adams, who then runs and picks up a first down. If it was Jamal Adams covering him, that mistake would not have happened. And again, I'm not blaming McDougal too much. This video isn't meant to be criticism of McDougal, because I think McDougal's a fine player. I just think McDougal can be beat in several ways. And with Adams now on the team, he's not going to get beat in very many ways. And, you have a team now with Quentin Dunbar and Shaquille Griffin, who can beat a 2 cornerbacks who play well as zone coverage corners. You have Quandre Diggs, who can definitely be that good free safety. You have Adams, who can be a great strong safety. And if you're not playing nickel, which I fully suspect they'll play a lot of downs with 3 linebackers, with Jordan Brooks, Bobby Wagner, and KJ Wright, that's looking pretty good. And their D-line's not bad either. So, this is looking like it's going to be a tough team to play against. And this whole narrative that Russell Wilson never gets any help, well, there's your help. I think his defense is going to be very good. They could easily be a top 10 defense in the league, and they still have what many believe, myself included, to be the second best quarterback on the other side of the field. So it's hard to not get excited if you're a Seahawks fan about this, I would imagine. Again, they gave up a lot. They're mortgaging the future to some degree, but listen, as we've seen after they won their first Super Bowl, sometimes it's really hard to build a dynasty. And sometimes the best way to do it is to just go out and try to win a Super Bowl this next year. And yes, they've given up a lot. But at the end of the day, as we all know, the Seahawks always seem to draft someone in the first round that no one else is planning on taking in the first round. So maybe they'll be fine by not having their first round picks after all. And they're getting an elite safety, one of the best in the league. I just think it's so fascinating. I think it's very interesting. And I'll say I like the move from both sides. I think I like it more from the Jets' perspective, but I still do like it from the Seahawks' perspective. I think this has made their defense really good. So let me know what you guys think. Do you think this was a great move from the Jets' perspective, a great move from the Seahawks' perspective, a bad move from Seattle's perspective, a bad move from New York's perspective, or was it, good for both teams, or maybe bad for both teams? Don't see how that could happen, but what do you guys think? Let me know in the comments below. Always love hearing from you. And of course, as always, thanks for watching.